Hi, my name is Chris Bosley. Recently, I made a video on disk space management and how it was kind of weird on this phone. This is, I think, a result of attacks by Anglican Presbyterians and other denominational affiliates to the Anglican Church within the more theological Bible college environment. So after I made the video yesterday, I noticed an immediate change. I made another video, and I talk a lot in the other videos. So this video, I'm just going to go through quickly and just show you all the things. If you don't feel like watching all the other uh, comments that I'm making in the other very long video. So the first thing I just wanted to show you is the um, uh, data management. What I mean by data management is, like, often I've seen it several times before where I'll turn off the phone like this, I'll have 0 bytes available, and then when I turn back on the phone, it's happened twice. I have all of a sudden just 400 megabytes of data just appear out of nowhere, 300 and something megabytes of data appear out of nowhere, and no, and I think that that what happens is the Anglicans steal data from the phone and then allocate it to their own location so that they can use it for their own purposes. I'm not saying 400 megabytes, because that's a huge amount, but they they change the um, topography of the disk and to allow themselves to have their own um, space to utilize to what they want, so that it's not being governed or administered by the operating system's kernel, so that it's kind of separate from the operating system, kind of like an encrypted TrueCrypt disk. So because TrueCrypt, the operating system won't see like a hidden TrueCrypt volume, and so they kind of hide their volume like that, and then they access it with DRM, protected content storage, and then they retrieve or deposit data into that location that they've segregated from the operating system, and then they access it secretly and hidden with their secret hidden operating system, either a tiny microsystem on the phone with tools that they utilize to access the phone, or a remote system. So here, 68 megabytes is what happened after I deleted three files. And the three files I'm talking about are uh, 26.18 megabytes. So I deleted three of these files here to get space so I could make the video. But I was still short. If you look at the screenshots, I was still short um, uh, 10 or more megabytes, because the only amount of space that I was given back after zero was uh, 68. So I'm still missing a certain amount. But before, I would have to delete like almost 100 megabytes just to get 60 megabytes. So I was losing like 40. The point is that I think what they do is that when you delete, I keep my phone full because I don't want them utilizing extra space and stealing it to use it for themselves. So what they do is they trick. So when I delete, they steal while I'm deleting. So they'll steal space as soon as it's made available, and I don't know how they do that, but it seems like it's done like that. Now the phone can do that, I think, and I know I'm certain the kernel can do that. The phone itself can take space and allocate it for itself when it sees free space, and I think that the attackers can do the same thing. Whether or not that's what's happening, I don't know, but I do know that overnight after I made the video, there was a definite change. That before, 40 megabytes or close to 40 megabytes were stolen, and today only 10 was stolen, so that's a definite change. Another system change I noticed is, if we go into settings and apps, is with user interface. So here we'll go down to all, and we'll go down to user interface, system UI. Now system UI I used to stop because I wanted to disable it, and I didn't want the Anglicans to have any tools. So here, when I press stop, see, I press stop, it's not stopping, and if it gains cache, so 38.4 1.11. So when I stop, it's not stopping. Previously, I used to stop it, and it would, there, see, it gains. So this is a system change that has been administered in the last couple days. I used to stop this because I didn't want them using the system user interface, because I think that they somehow connect into my system, and they're going to have to use a system user interface. So I wanted to break that if I could. And before, what it used to do was it used to make the home screen wallpaper go black, but now it's not working. As you can see, and you can see all the permissions here that system user interface has. So it's possible that they're using system interface as an attack uh, vector, so in their attacks. So I don't know how they do these settings so fast, how they make these changes so fast. They have root control of the phone, and they're monitoring my activity on a daily basis. I made this video about data management yesterday, and I haven't even uploaded it yet. And yet they've changed the configuration, and the disk space management is already different. Also, I made a video about the system user interface. Another video, I put it up on the internet, and I was showing how, or Twitter maybe, I was showing how stopping the system user interface made the wallpaper disappear, and I was wondering if that would somehow help me in um, obstructing the Anglican attackers by accessing my user interface. So obviously they've made a change, and they've reconfigured my phone and made a change, and now when I press stop, it just restarts automatically. And if I empty the cache and I press stop, it restarts and it fills the cache back up. So that's another configuration change. So my system here, also another thing I wanted to show you is that I'll go back to the settings and apps. I want to show you my disabled apps. And I've disabled everything that I can because I don't have root, but I've disabled backup and restore. I've disabled uh, 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 system updates. I've disabled FW upgrade, firmware upgrade, I'm assuming. But even though I've disabled as much as I can, it really makes no difference, because if you look at, if you do a PS grep firmware is loaded, update firmware is loaded the minute I start my phone, and it's got root. And then I don't know what this is, but 6620 at the bottom and middle of the screen, launcher P starts up system firmware with the P variable argument. So I don't know. There's nothing I can do. So the Anglicans, the attackers, attack the phone, and then they change the firmware, and then the firmware starts. It's probably likely, I'm guessing they've doctored the phone's original firmware, and they've changed it to suit their purposes and to suit their needs, and it's probably loading tools within the system that they're using themselves. So the firmware itself is able to, I'm sure it's able to even partition the hard drive, and repartition space, and reconfigure the system so that they can use their tools within the system to monitor and steal data and control the phone. So I know that another interesting thing is, even though I've got these systems disabled, if you look at Android System Web View, it's stopped now, or it's running now because I'm running Screen Recorder. And Screen Recorder, the system Screen Recorder I use, starts this application up. Now, so this is just showing you that Screen Recorder, if it's got permission to start up this application, it can start up the application. And many times before, I've noticed that all of these applications were running. So all of this entire list was running one day. I looked in it, and just out of curiosity, I went like this, and it was running. I had to stop all of them. But if the phone is configured to start these applications, or an application is configured to start these applications will start. It will override my disable settings. So even though I've disabled Chrome, if they need to use this as a in their attack vector, they just start it up with permissions to start the application up. And root firmware upgrade, as you saw here, has firmware upgrade has root permission anyway, so it can do whatever it wants. But you see, once they've, I think that they've accessed the firmware and changed it, and it's possible that the firmware is already incorporated or already has tools that they can utilize in their attacks. I know that I'm pretty certain that they're using the adapts photo backdoor. I make another video about that in another place. There's a backdoor in this phone, in this zip phone, and I'm pretty sure that they're using adapts photo to attack this phone. But like I said, this is running because a AZ screen recorder started it. Now, if I stop this, AZ screen recorder will stop. So if they want to start any application, they can start any application, even though I've disabled it. Especially if they've got root, and they do have root to this phone. So they can do anything they want to this phone. They can upgrade the firmware, they can change the way the system runs, they can install applications, they can do anything the backdoor can do. And the adapts photo firmware over the air upgrade system that's within the upgrade system on this phone. So I think that is pretty appalling. I'm just going through quickly to show you this while I talk. It's pretty appalling, the things that they're doing, and that they call themselves Christians is absolutely ridiculous. So this is upgrade system, and I made another video showing how upgrade system automatically is triggered by the radio on. So the upgrade system has this application, this this backdoor within it, the COM adapts photo sysopper within it, and not only that, but this upgrade system is actually triggered when I turn the air when I turn on the radio. So and to go online. So every time I go online, upgrade system starts. So if they wanted to, they could just plant um, a package or a pay load into upgrade system and using adapts photo sysopper. And I know that they probably know how to do this because there's Asians here that work within that I'm certain work within the technology sector within China, Indonesia, and all the Asian home countries. Now they could just drop a payload into using adapts photo sysopper into upgrade system, and then as soon as I turn on my card to access the internet, upgrade system is triggered. It starts. The payload is enforced with root permissions, or permissions that were given to it within the app payload deposit within the application APK, or whatever they're using to drop the payload. And there you go. It's incorporated within the phone. So this is another example of one with the disk management that has changed, and also with system user interface that has changed. And this is just two of the many